She's been in front of a camera since she was 11 months old, earning a paycheck and often being the major breadwinner of the family. Now she's an accomplished actress, director, producer, model, author, and cosmetics mogul. She won our hearts in 1981 as Little Gertie in Steven Spielberg's movie E.T. the Extraterrestrial. And from there, she appeared in scores of films, including 2 Charlie's Angels movies, which her company, Flower Productions, produced, and co-starred and co-produced the movie 50 First Dates with her longtime friend Adam Sandler. She's won scores of awards for her films and accolades for her business and writing. Yes, Drew Barrymore has led a full life, but the lessons she's learned were often hard-won. She talks about life, love, and family in her new book, Wildflower. Her father, John Drew Barrymore, was an actor from the famous Barrymore acting family. Her time with him as a child was short. He and Drew's mother, Ildiko, were divorced when she was 9, and she was estranged from him until shortly before his death in 2004. Drew says that her life was anything but average, growing up in West Hollywood among the less affluent and more eccentric people who lived in her neighborhood. She relished the diversity, the friendliness of her neighbors, and she loved the beautiful flowers and plants that grew around the house, especially the avocado tree in the backyard. She writes that she would eat upwards of 10 avocados on some days. Then came her breakout role in E.T. She was making money at age 6, traveling the world promoting the film, and she says that's when everything changed.
And change was very scary for me. Once E.T. came out and she sold the house and life was just a whole roller coaster, then it was nothing but change. And those first 6, 7 years, things were totally unorthodox, but they were consistent at the same time. You know, I'm an optimistic person. It's an optimistic book. And I attribute a moment in it, when I saw on my best friend's refrigerator this magnet that said happiness is a choice. And I always just thought she was the grooviest person for touting that kind of mantra. And in my late teens and early 20s, I was like, yeah, man, it's all about happiness.
As she grew up, though, she says she learned that happiness was not the most important thing.
As a woman in my 40s, I'm like, no, it's the word choice. That's the powerful thing in that statement. And to choose to have a sunny disposition and the fight for happiness is the key. The happiness is the payoff, but the earning it and being protective of it and working hard towards that happiness is where that awesomeness it really lies.
Barrymore was emancipated from her mother at the age of 14 and went to live on her own. It was a rocky road she traveled professionally and personally. She found an apartment in a scary part of West Hollywood and got a job at a coffee house. One of the chapters in the story talks about how she had absolutely no domestic skills to speak of. She had to learn when to throw out the food molding in her fridge, clean house, and do laundry. She learned how to do all of those things by facing them head on. She got so good at house chores, in fact, that she writes, "I loved stain removal."
I had only acted up until that point of getting my first apartment and emancipated at 14, and I didn't have a domestic skill to save my life. Acting doesn't prepare you for squat in the real world. It was just a horrifying wake-up call, and I felt very intimidated by the whole thing. I couldn't even sleep at night because I was scared in this apartment in this bad neighborhood. I was like, oh my God, I thought this was going to be so fun. I had pictured it almost like a movie where the kid gets to not have to live with their parents and hilarity ensues. And I was like, this is dark. How am I going to deal with this? And then I was like, I'm just going to put one foot in front of the other and I'm going to get good at this because I suck at it right now and this is unacceptable. And mastering something and falling in love with it and doing your homework and getting good at something really is the way to kill the fear and face the dragon. The whole thing turned Technicolor and became really fun. And I thought, well, this applies to everything in life. Just work at it, learn it, love it, do it, and learn how to conquer anything via mastering it.
That wasn't the first time she learned to master something new. When she was about 4 years old, she went to the Strasberg Institute in Los Angeles, where her mother, an aspiring actress, was taking acting lessons. Barrymore got a small part in a play about the Nazi concentration camps. She writes that the lead actress in the play had to perform in the greatest turmoil throughout the whole play every night. Barrymore says that she had to find out how she did it.
I decided one night to go looking, and it took me days to find her, but I finally found her laying down in one of the dark theaters with her little legs dangling off the side, lying down and just drudging up something inside of her. I will never know what it was that she was thinking, but they were real tears, and she was working them out of her. And so to know that when she was going out there every night that it was not fake, it was not acting, she was applying this amazing pain that she had, if it was even pain, out onto that play every night. So it was just such a revelation for me of like, this woman's not acting. She's not faking anything. She's using what's inside of her in the most animalistic, primal, incredible way. And just was a great lesson to me of like, make it personal.
Barrymore has given wonderful performances in film, and she credits it to learning from that actress and also from the director of E.T., Steven Spielberg.
And then Steven Spielberg, not too far after that, when I was making E.T., said the saying sort of off the cuff, but it affected me so profoundly. He said, don't act your characters, be your characters. And I was like, okay, so if he's saying don't act and this woman wasn't acting, maybe you're just yourself. I've gotten in trouble even for like saying like, oh, I don't act, I don't know how to act. And people are like, don't say that about yourself. That's really irritating to hear. And I'm like, well, then how do I word it? How do I say it? Because I am inspired to use what's real inside of me and then maybe pretend it through someone else. But I love that this woman didn't pretend, and Steven said, just be that person. They were such formative, encouraging, life-changing moments for me. And then much like the laundry, too, is like you make it personal, and everything in life, as many things that can be, should be personal. You will have a deeper investment in the outcome if they are personal.
She's all about being a mother now, cherishing the time she spends with her daughters. She says she was born when they were, and she learns a lot about life from them.
It's taught me to be quick on my feet. Oh my God, every instance needs another tool from your vast, imaginative toolbox, and I love keeping them safe. It's a 24-hour job. Even when you're sleeping, I'm convinced I'm hearing them stir in the night, and I wake up and I'm like, is everything okay? It's endless.
Not only does Barrymore love her daughters, her real family, she says that she considers many of her longtime friends to be family too.
Because I didn't have a traditional family, so I really believe in the power of, it doesn't have to be blood. It's who you choose. Again, that word choice, it's so powerful. If my whole life is for my daughters, I think up until that point, my whole life was really, and will always be to a large extent, really to show the people that I love them.
To find out more about our guest, Drew Barrymore, and her memoir, Wildflower, visit viewpointsradio.org. For more behind the scenes, follow Viewpoints Radio on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. This segment originally aired in January 2016 and was written by producer Pat Reuter. Our executive producer is Amira Zaveri. Studio production by Jason Dickey. I'm Marty Peterson. Coming up next week.
As one teacher told me, teaching is the only profession she could think of where you could have 2 advanced degrees and still make less than $50K.
The unsustainable landscape of teaching in America. Then,
not only, what videos you watch, but how long you watch them, when you click on them, all of that can reveal information about you.
Why you should care about whether you're being tracked online. I'm Marty Peterson.
And I'm Gary Price. These stories in depth on your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.
And that's Viewpoints for this week. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to learn more about upcoming shows and find a library of past programs on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. Plus, you'll always find previous segments and more information about our guests at viewpointsradio.org. Join us again next week for another edition of Viewpoints.